Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a new report warns of the economic impact of federal cuts to Medicaid in Arizona. Also tonight, ASU is launching a new undergraduate real estate degree. And the Phoenix Symphony collaborates with the Phoenix Holocaust Association for a special performance. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Governor Hobbs has vetoed a bill that would have prevented Arizonans from using food stamps to buy soda. The bill was supported by U.S. Health and Human Services Director Robert F. Kennedy Jr., but the governor said that the ban would unnecessarily deprive food stamp recipients of their purchasing power. The veto comes not long after the governor signed a bill that bans processed foods containing additives from being sold in public schools. A federal judge today said that there is, quote, probable cause to hold the Trump administration in criminal contempt for what the judge describes as a willful disregard of the judge's order. The case involves the administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport alleged Venezuelan gang members. Today's threat of contempt proceedings follows another federal judge who yesterday announced an inquiry into whether the White House violated a ruling by the Supreme Court on a case involving a Maryland man wrongly deported to El Salvador. Fed Chair Jerome Powell today said that President Trump's use of tariffs and other economic policies are unlike anything seen in modern history, and as such, the Fed is in uncharted waters.
The level of tariff increases announced so far is significantly larger than anticipated, and the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth. Unemployment is likely to go up as the economy slows in all likelihood, and inflation is likely to go up as tariffs find their way, and some part of those tariffs come to be paid by the public.
Powell added that higher inflation and slower growth could result in lasting economic damage. The Fed chair's comments, along with new administration restrictions on exports to China, led to a down day on Wall Street. The Dow fell 700 points, or 1.7%. NASDAQ was down 516 points, or 3.1%. And the S&P was off 120 points, or 2.25%. Back to Jerome Powell. The Trump administration is planning to replace him when the Fed chair's term is up next year. President Trump, who initially appointed Powell, has accused Powell of, quote, playing politics and not cutting interest rates. Retail sales surged last month as shoppers rushed to beat the president's tariff hikes. That's according to the U.S. Commerce Department, which reports that retail sales rose 1.4% in March, for the highest monthly increase since January of 2023. Economists think that the rush to beat tariffs could happen again this month, but they add that those sales boosts are unlikely to last. One more headline. A new study shows that getting a shingles vaccination could help reduce the risk of dementia. Researchers looked at 280,000 adults aged 71 to 88 and followed them for 7 years. They found that those who received a shingles vaccine were 20% less likely to be diagnosed with dementia. Researchers consider the results the strongest evidence to date that some viral infections can impact brain functions years later, and that preventing those infections can help prevent cognitive decline. The Trump administration's spending cuts are putting programs like Medicaid at risk. A new study shows that cuts to Arizona's Medicaid program could have significant health and economic consequences. Joining us now is Danny Seiden, President and CEO of the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Good to see you again.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, I want to start with the basics here. What is Medicaid?
Oh my gosh, no, great question. And those who use it know what it is very well. So Medicaid is the federal program that assists, people of a certain income level with their health care costs at the most basic level. And so in our state level, what you have is an exchange. We here call it Access, and that's our state-run Medicaid program. So we get our federal dollars and it helps us to cover certain vulnerable populations.
And how many are covered here in Arizona?
About 2 million. So it's almost just under a third of our population.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like quite a bit.
It's quite a bit. Yeah, we have a high population here.
And I would imagine rural areas even more so.
In rural areas, Medicaid makes up about 40% of the total funding that goes to some of those hospitals. So it really stands that up. So it's very crucial to rural populations as well.
Okay, this new report on possible Medicaid cuts, likely Medicaid cuts, What did you think when you heard about this?
So we at the Arizona Chamber work with our foundation and Rounds Consulting Group to commission it, because I wanted to know what would the economic impact be of these Medicaid cuts. We can talk about it a lot in terms of patients, and it's very heart-pulling, it really is. But we want to talk about it in terms of economics. What would it do to our state's economy? And what we found was very surprising to see that with every $1 billion that would get cut from Medicaid, that leads to 36,000 jobs being gone. That's nearly $3 billion gone from our state's economy. It's about a 3-to-1 match on that. It's huge.
How did the report figure that? What was looked at?
Yeah, quite a few things. One, it looked at, again, what is the sector of our population covered by Medicaid? So that's a third. So if they are no longer covered, who's making up those costs? Where does that cost shift to? And if the federal government is not sending us the dollars anymore, it shifts down to the state. And again, it should be said, Arizona is unique. We have what's called a trigger law. Now, we in Arizona, if we lose, if we fall under 80% of the federal poverty line coverage, or Medicaid match, I should say, that the state has to now cover the difference. We lose this huge population, and then because we passed an initiative with our wonderful Citizens Initiative process, Prop 204, that says we cover people up to 100%. So we are responsible now with state dollars to cover more people. And where is that money going to come from? Where do the costs get passed down to?
I was going to ask, where does that money come from, and how does that affect the overall economy?
It's going to get passed on to a lot of private insurers. You've heard of uncompensated care. It's a conversation we've had many times in the past. So if a hospital is having to take care of these people, the cost will get passed down to the rest of us. It drives up employer costs. It drives up costs. It also hurts availability, the access to medical care, especially in rural Arizona. So there's a lot of concerns that go with this. In fact, Jim Rounds said that looking at cutting these dollars in these populations would be one of the most devastating economic analysis he's seen since the Great Recession.
I was going to say the severe and far-reaching consequences for the Arizona economy. And I mean, he didn't mince words there, did he?
No, he did not, and it was very serious. I think, we were all shocked to see just how severe it was. We knew it wouldn't be great for us, but again, so we're working hard. We're working hard to get this message out. This study gives us the information we need. Congressman Juan Ciscomani from down in southern Arizona signed a letter with a multitude of other Republicans that went to the speaker saying, we will work to reform Medicaid. There's always reforms. There are some waste, fraud, abuse, transparency we can do. We'll do all of that, but do not haphazardly cut Medicaid, because it's this population of vulnerable adults, many of whom were Trump voters, that we want to make sure that they do not get the rug pulled out from under them.
Does some of those reforms, people are talking about caps, people are talking about work requirements, these sorts of things.
Sure.
What do you think?
I know that. I'll tell you this. I believe that the states are open to any reasonable reform that could work. And a work requirement, if designed correctly, is not a bad thing. It's, these are meant to be hand-ups, not handouts. You want people to get a job and to get on private insurance. But here's the thing, Ted. If you cut so much Medicaid, if you cut it, the private insurance becomes so much more expensive. That's not even feasible now. We're talking about numbers that just don't add up.
Now, the Rounds report that you're referring to talked about a scenario. There is also a worst-case scenario involved here. And the worst-case scenario, from what I read of the report, suggests we could be headed back to Great Recession territory. True?
That's absolutely true. He took the numbers, and again, let's give a little special Arizona history, right? In 2013, Governor Jan Brewer did what was called the Medicaid restoration. She restored funding and coverage for people, it's 136% above the poverty line, and those are mostly childless adults. So that population, if that itself gets cut, it's devastating. If we lose the federal dollars that covers that 36%, we are in trouble right there. Forget even just going all the way down to 80% and what that would mean for the hundreds and thousands of people, and a lot, 70,000, what do you say, 70,000 kids as well. So again, it's a very vulnerable population we're talking about.
You talked about getting that message out there, Ciscomani, and the congressional delegation as a whole. Are they getting the message out there? And it's A. And B, is the administration listening?
I've seen encouraging statements from President Trump when it comes to Medicaid cuts. When he talks about Medicaid, Medicare, when he talks about all these entitlements that deal with the most vulnerable population, it's a population he ran on protecting. These, a lot of working class people are doing their best. They are a lot of Trump voters. I don't believe he wants to hurt them. I think he is paying attention. We've heard advisors like Steve Bannon say, if you guys cut Medicaid, you're done. It'll be a bloodbath for Republicans in 2 years. So I think the message is getting out there, but I give Juan Ciscomani, Congressman from Southern Arizona, a lot of credit. He's our appropriator. He's out there fighting for this population.
Okay. last question. I can't let you go without talking about tariffs.
Please.
I mean, it's always tariffs in morning, noon, and night here.
I have thoughts on tariffs.
Yeah. Real quickly, in a minute, what is going on and when is it going to, if not stop, then at least make sense to most Americans?
That's a really good question. That is, I have no answer for when it will stop, and I certainly can't make sense of it. The only thing I can say is it's now being sold as this is the way President Trump works. It's the art of the deal. He likes to keep everyone guessing, but there are real consequences. Right now, every day one of these gets announced or changed, it alters business models in the billions. So we have companies trying to make their orders, figuring out where they can get their goods from, because again, Ted, it's so important. If you learn one thing about tariffs, I always say learn this. You and I are going to pay for it. You know, the producers pay for it when it comes in, they pass it down to the consumers. So everything's going to get more expensive. Housing, everything you're going to talk about later, real estate, it's all connected to these tariffs. And again, it's a problem, it's a policy that historically has been proven to not work and to not benefit America. And the last time he rescinded or pulled back was when our bond market was on the brink of collapse because we're the world's reserve currency.
Yes.
Unless we start getting out of the trade deficit.
I was going to say the bond market is what people are really concerned about, because when the stock market goes one way, the bond market goes another. That's not happening right now.
It's not happening. Absolutely not. And that is because the dollar has been the world's reserve currency because of trade deficits.
Yes.
It's a good thing. It makes our dollar strong.
All right, Danny. A lot going on here, huh?
Yeah, no, every day is different and new. Today we learned about tomatoes. You know, buy your tomatoes, folks, before.
It sounds like tomatoes are on the chopping block,
Yeah.
as it were. Danny Seiden, Phoenix Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Good to see you again.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbello. Welcome to Check Please Arizona, the show where Arizona residents recommend their favorite restaurants. In this episode, we're checking out a barbecue joint, Southern Italian dishes, and Thai cuisine.
We really liked the balance between the sweet, the savory components.
It's Thai cuisine on a level you've just never seen before.
You can't make that up. That sounds so good. I am so hungry
Thank you for
right now.
bringing us that knowledge.
Thursday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
If you live in Arizona, you know this state is home to some of the most famous landmarks and natural wonders in the world. This episode is about none of those. We're visiting those locations that are amazing in their own right, but you might not hear about unless you ask a local. From deep underground to a marshy lake to the tallest lookout on a mountain, this episode is about hidden gems.
Thursday night at 7:30 on Arizona PBS.
ASU's W.P. Carey School of Business is launching a new undergraduate degree for real estate. Residential and commercial real estate, they account for 17% of Arizona's GDP and as such are important drivers of the state's economy. To learn more, we welcome Mark Stapp. He's a director for the Center for Real Estate Theory and Practice at the W.P. Carey School of Business here at ASU. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
This is actually good news. We do so much around here. I'm waiting for the good news. This is the good news. Yes. So basically a new undergraduate real estate degree. Was there not one before?
So the little bit of history here. We did have an undergraduate major in real estate up until about 2011. And I have to admit that I was the person who really got rid of it. And the reason is that the number of people that were enrolled in the major had shrunk tremendously, and there just didn't seem to be interest. But remember, this was coming out of the Great Recession. Mm-hmm. So I recommended and then created the undergraduate minor for real estate. And today, that has grown to the point where there's over 700 students taking those real estate courses this semester. And it's grown every semester, and there's more than 500 that are declared minors.
Wow.
And that was kind of proof positive that there's significant demand for this, which was one of the impetuses for creating the major. The other is you can't really be a ranked real estate program if you don't have a major. And we are, because of the quality of the education in the business school, because we're the largest business school in the U.S., and we have more programs ranked in the top 30 than any other school in the U.S., business school in the U.S. This was important to us.
Okay, it sounds as though it says hands-on, real-world learning. What will students experience that they couldn't get before?
So this is tied to a gift that was provided by the W.P. Carey Foundation, right, which is a foundation related to W.P. Carey, Inc., the namesake of the school. They had given $75 million to the business school previously in 2 different gifts. And this last gift of $25 million brought them to $100 million, which is incredibly generous. And it was to facilitate a number of things. The major that you mentioned, which is the Bachelor of Science in Real Estate and Applied Finance. Also, you mentioned my previous title, the center has been renamed as the W.P. Carey Center for Real Estate and Finance.
Okay.
Part of this includes an experiential learning laboratory. What we want to do is not just teach the subject, right? We're not going to be made great by what we teach. We will be made great by how we teach. And it's looking at ways to create experiences that reinforce learning objectives. And so there's going to be a number of different things. We already do this experiential learning really well at the master's level. What we intend to do is take it down to the undergraduate level.
Okay, this is all very much academic focused, and it sounds like it's great for students, and it sounds like it's great for W.P. Carey School of Business and ASU. What does this mean to the greater community?
So real estate's an interesting asset. It's the only asset that is both a financial vessel, so more wealth is generated, more intergenerational wealth is passed on through real estate, but at the same time, it's the physical space that society functions in. And so real estate exists at this nexus between business and society. Our objective is to teach students to be the best possible community members and at the same time to be successful in business and in creating that wealth.
In a world in which the real estate industry was kind of roiled here by new rules regarding agents, how does that play into all this?
You know, I don't worry too much about that. Everybody thinks about real estate usually when you mention it as houses and selling houses and real estate agents. Although it's a significant part of this business, it's not the primary driver. And our focus at the business school isn't on residential sales. Residential real estate is an important part of our economy, an important part of the business. But we're really focused on the bigger definition of real estate, in particular real estate, commercial real estate, and the finance of commercial real estate, because it's very capital intensive.
Yeah. Okay, time frame. When does it start? When's the first?
First class in the major is seated this August.
All right. You all set for this, huh?
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah. Next time you come on, I got to give you a new title then, huh?
I got to have a new title. We will have a new director.
Oh,
actually.
interesting.
So
all
that's
right.
one of the things we're out doing.
Well, congratulations on this. Best of luck, and we'll follow along. And of course, we like real estate stories here, so I'm sure we'll have you back. Good to see you again.
Always good to be here, Ted. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Catherine Anaya, host of Horizonte, the groundbreaking program that has served as a platform for Arizona's Latino community for more than 2 decades.
Latinos care about issues across the board, just like everyone else.
There's a lot of diversity in thought and opinion. We just need to make sure parents understand the value in having multilingual students.
We like to hear our voices heard. Stream episodes online at azpbs.org, YouTube, or on the PBS app.
Hi, we're Paper Foxes, and you're listening to Playlist 48 on Arizona PBS.
Seek, destroy, it's programmed in me. Say my name, a number again. How do you lie through broken smiles? How do you say these things? Everyone knows we've all gone.
Getting out of my head and constantly having to be present. That's my favorite thing about music, is it forces a presence that like very few actions and things that I do in my life force me to do.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, a federal judge threatens to hold Trump officials in contempt over the deportation of migrants to an El Salvador prison. That's coming up at 6 on Arizona PBS.
The Phoenix Symphony is collaborating with the Phoenix Holocaust Association to mark the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II and the liberation of concentration camps. Holocaust survivors will be honored at Symphony Hall in this Holocaust Remembrance Day event. Joining us now is Peter Chomey, CEO of the Phoenix Symphony, and also with us is Cheryl Bronkish. She's the past president of the Phoenix Holocaust Association. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, Peter, we're going to start with you. Let's talk more about this event. How did this all come about?
Well, this event really came about through a dream that Cheryl had. The Holocaust Remembrance Day, something that happens every year. And Cheryl shared with a mutual friend that she was hoping that we could collaborate with the Phoenix Symphony and have this event at Symphony Hall.
And Cheryl, it's happening at Symphony Hall. Where did this dream come from? How did this idea get started?
Well, it has been 80 years, and we are losing our Holocaust survivors more frequently now. They're all in their 90s. And I felt it was very important to have the general community have the opportunity to see Holocaust survivors and participate in this annual commemoration. Last year, we had a wonderful crowd, but we outgrew the space.
Yes.
And I always had hoped Symphony Hall just has an allure, and I thought it would be wonderful.
And we're going to see some Holocaust survivors on stage, correct?
That's absolutely right.
We should have around 20 of them.
Okay, and a candle lighting ceremony and an invocation by a local rabbi. True?
That's true.
Okay, music, prayers, the whole 9 yards, huh?
We even have the governor coming, the mayor of Phoenix coming, our Secretary of State. And,
Peter, you're going to have some music, too. Talk about the music.
Yes, we are. Earlier that day, we'll be performing a concert, Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, and Hindemith's Symphonic Metamorphosis. But during the commemoration itself, which will be at 5 o'clock on that Sunday, we're going to be playing a work by Gideon Klein. And this piece has deep meaning and resonance with the day.
Yes, we have a chance to hear some of the musicians play this. Just a little snippet of this particular piece, again by Gideon Klein, and this composed. We'll talk about why this is so special after we hear a little bit of this. And Peter, that is special because?
This was composed by Gideon Klein when he was at Terezin 10 days before his transport to Auschwitz. This is one of the last works that Gideon Klein composed before he perished.
Yeah, were you aware of this particular piece?
I wasn't aware of this piece. I was aware of Gideon Klein.
Yes.
And in Terezin, there were many composers and playwrights and authors. And there's a great deal of music that was composed there. And the composers are lost to the world.
But we have this. For the day, for the entire event, and every year for Holocaust Remembrance, but especially this year, what do you want people to take from this?
I want people to hear from our survivors. There will be a survivor who will be our keynote speaker. And I want people to say, why didn't more people stand up and be upstanders? How did people allow this to happen? And we can't change the past, but we can change the future. And as you know, there are more genocides happening. And so I want people to see this and understand that they could do something by being an upstander.
And again, that is something that the Phoenix Symphony has to work with, has to understand and present. How long did it take to figure out how to present this program?
And this collaboration is so important. And what we wanted to do is to help bring back to life music written by someone who died during the Holocaust, and to be able to, there's so many artists and so many millions of others who perished at the hands of the Nazi regime, and to be able to bring this music back and share it with the world again is a way to help honor their memory.
Now, this is April 27th, Symphony Hall, but I'm a little confused about the schedule here, so clear that up for me.
So on that day, on Sunday, April 27th at 5 o'clock, will be the Holocaust Remembrance Day commemoration. And people can visit the Phoenix Holocaust Association website or the Symphony's website. And then all that weekend, on Friday, Saturday, and again on Sunday, the Symphony's going to be playing the concert I mentioned earlier, Beethoven's Ninth Symphony and Hindemith's Symphonic Metamorphosis. And tickets remain available for that. And many people will choose to attend the Sunday afternoon concert and then stay for the commemoration.
Indeed. And again, Holocaust Remembrance Day for you personally.
Both my parents were Holocaust survivors.
Yeah.
Both of them are gone. I used to go with my parents, and so it has a great deal of meaning to me and to others whose family were affected by the Holocaust.
And I'm sure the music will just emphasize that. It just adds to it, doesn't it?
And when the trio are playing, that is when the survivors will march on stage with their candles. So it's very meaningful.
Well, thank you both for being here and sharing this, and we really appreciate you being here, and good luck. It's hard to say good luck on something like this, but good luck on the performance and the entire day.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you, Ted. That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Because kids will always be more curious, Arizona PBS delivers programs that serve as a trusted guide for little explorers. Thanks to you and
Arizona State University, creating a world of opportunity, sustainability, and possibilities for people and communities everywhere. Advancing technology for good. Transforming global education. Building the future of health. Empowering community resilience. Reshaping our relationship with the planet. Inspiring tomorrow's game changers. Changing futures from Arizona for the world. Learn more at asuchangingfutures.org.
Hospice of the Valley, medical, social, and spiritual care for patients nearing end of life, and support for their families. A not-for-profit community hospice. HOV.org.
Imagine a world where nature thrives,